and you shall know them by their fruit. Hey everybody, I am Adrielle Bullen. I have been deconstructing Christianity for about 10 years now. And I just like to offer a little bit of help if you are on that path or if you are starting to have some questions yourself. I'm not here to try to convince anyone to do anything differently or anything like that. I am just here to be a safe space if you have lots of questions or if you are already on the deconstruction path. So one of the things that really helped to ground me as I started to walk away from the church was that verse, which is actually in the Bible at least twice, if not more, is you shall know them by their fruit. So this was a really easy way for me to basically start to explore different belief systems, different tools that people were using or that different belief systems were using. And then basically just to kind of give myself a guideline, because when I started to walk away, it almost seemed like it was overwhelming, because it's like, where's the rules? Like, as much as I didn't want to, be confined by the rules anymore, they definitely did provide some sort of structure. So one of the things that definitely helped me with that was the verse, "And you shall know them by their fruit." So, especially when it came to things like witchcraft, right? So the more that I learned about witchcraft just kind of as a whole, and how, history shows that witch just meant a woman who knew herself and who knew the world around her. She probably had a lot of knowledge that most women back then didn't have, due to several different structures being in place, like patriarchy. So a woman who knows a lot, right, whether it's she knows herself and is strong in herself, and a woman who has a lot of knowledge about plant medicine and, just kind of the way the world works, or even psychology and that kind of thing, that makes that is someone who is hard to control. And so therefore they created the word witchcraft. Instead of, plant medicine, for the longest time, it was witchcraft, right? Anything where you're blending herbs and, things from nature, it was called witchcraft. And so just knowing that and understanding that helped me understand, the belief system a little bit better, and then also see the fruit for what it was. So then, simple tools that they use, like, tarot decks, which, again, this is not a one-size-fits-all thing, okay? That's the beauty of witchcraft, in my opinion, is that it's not everybody does the same things, right? So like tarot cards, sure. Can you get a bad tarot reading? Can you get a very manipulative tarot reading? Of course you can. Can you hear a manipulative message in the pulpit? Absolutely you can. But what I started to pay attention to is I would listen to people's stories or listen to people who practice the craft, and I would just notice, first of all, I am empathic, so I would notice what is the energy that I'm feeling. And then I would notice how do their relationships look? Do they look like they have a loving relationship, or is it full of strife? Is it full of anger and, things I don't really that wouldn't be considered good fruit? What does it look like? What does their life look like and feel like? And what is showing up for them? And so over and over again, whether it was, a witch, or whether it was a Muslim, or, somebody of a different religious background or belief system, I just noticed over and over and over again that the fruit was good. And of course there's always, both sides. There's always going to be, the negative expression and the positive expression of things, just like in Christianity. And I was in Christianity for long enough to know and to see and observe that there is definitely bad fruit in the church as much as there can be good fruit, right? I watched pastors continually abandon their families for the faith, and their families would fall apart or be destroyed. And I didn't want that. That to me did not look like very good fruit, no matter who it's for. And so, again, I just kind of started to use that as my guideline. And that really helped solidify a lot of the beliefs that I have today, and a lot of the tools that I practice and use today is what is the fruit? What comes up for me in my life when I can drop the fear, when I can drop the self-condemnation? What comes up for me when I use the tools that I am drawn to, or when I, experiment with different, practices like touching the earth or hugging a tree or, speaking over my coffee, or any of these kinds of things that are now coming into a ritualistic sort of practice in my own life, right? What is the fruit? So I would just challenge you as you are on your journey. What is the fruit? If you can look around and see and talk to people who believe very, very differently from you and notice, what does their life look like? What is their life experience like? What are the fruits of their labors and of their personality and their belief systems? And decide for yourself. And this is the beauty of following these things is, following your own intuition and listening to your own body when it's trying to talk to you, because it does. These are beautiful things that can really help you feel a lot more grounded in your path as you work to deconstruct whatever it is that you're working to deconstruct. So let's talk about it in the comments. Let's talk about what are some things that you have done or that have helped you in your path, or what questions do you have? So I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.